Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor. Now, it's real time.
Welcome back, everyone. We're joined in the studio by Mr. Bill Herzog. We've got several questions that have come in via the phone lines. If you have questions, do you mind answering a couple more?
That's why I'm here, baby.
All right,
Come
so
on.
everybody feel free to call us up on that hotline. It's a 503-548-6777. So make sure you call us up if you have that question. First one here, this is from Porter, okay? He says, Bill, do you use spinfish for steelhead?
No, I do not. I use mag lips.
Okay. All right, I got it.
There's the old saying, what isn't tried won't work.
Right.
Why not put a bait that spins out there, full of good scent, and send it and back it down into the pool like you're pulling a plug?
Right.
Why not?
Right.
I would put it like behind a diver, obviously, you know, what, maybe 5 feet behind a diver.
Sure.
Give it a shot. You know, try it. The same colors, it's got to work.
Yeah.
And you told me that you use them?
I don't, but they have been used, and they have caught many a steelhead.
Yeah, I think that's a super secret.
It was kind of a thing. It was the dudes down in California that kind of started. There's some rivers down there that they have really good trout populations. So they were using the small kokanee size spinfish, right? The 2.0 or 2.5s.
2.0.
And yes, they were being successful. And then that, of course, translated over to fishing for steelhead. So it is something you can do, Porter, and he hasn't done it, but he actually described it absolutely perfectly with a diver, and that spinfish back there has proven to catch steelhead and trout. Just not something I've done personally, and I'm sure somebody will give it a try at some point in time. Joel also has a question. Is there anything on the market comparable to the old Steely? Now, before you answer the question, Steely's and I have a relationship from when I was this big.
So do I.
That's when I was given a board. That's how they used to come. And because I've been fishing the shoots my entire life, and that's all I got for a 3-day weekend was one board, and it didn't even matter what color. If they were green, blue, or red and white, which was my favorite at the time, that's all I got was one board's worth. And if I lost them all, it was over, right? So you had to become pretty proficient with them. But they've kind of fallen off a little bit. Is there something comparable out there to a Steely?
How about a Steely? They still sell them.
There you go.
Acme Tackle still makes them. They still sell them by the board, 12 on a board.
All right.
If you get them that way, but normally they're sold per each now.
Okay.
But like you said, the red and white, the half-ounce red and white Steely, that's pretty much all I fished with for my first 3 years of steelhead fishing.
Right.
Caught a pile of fish with them. I also lost a lot of them because I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
So I used, like you said, you get the whole board, and after they're gone, back to Payless.
Yeah.
You go grab another one.
Back to Payless.
Remember Payless?
Oh my God, dude, we've been around too long. He's a little bit older than I am, not by much apparently.
But yeah, the Steely. But here's the deal about a Steely.
Sure.
The reason you don't see them much anymore is because they're wider than they are the weight. Okay, it's like between if you had the same piece of iron, and you would drop a flat one into the water, it weighs the same, or a skinny one. The skinny one's going to drop faster. The flat one's like a Steely. It has more surface area. It doesn't get down as easy. It still catches fish. They work great in tail outs and in slow water. Wonderful. But there are other styles of spoons out there, BC Steel, that work pretty good. Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, the ovals will work better for you.
I was going to say, I have one right here. Bill actually brought in, this is a rod you actually you made this rod, right? But this is an old school original Lamiglass glass blank.
S-glass, you bet.
Right.
I think the most feely rod ever made. As far as movement, what the glass does, like to pull plugs with them, the whole rod moves. It opens up the area of the lure moving, be it a spoon, be it a plug, whatever. Glass enhances the lure's movement. And once you put a spoon with braid, like I did on that glass, you know, it's fishing in high def.
Right.
Oh, it's insane.
No,
Love it.
There's going to be some out there. We talked about this prior to the show starting. There's some out there going to go, what, braid for throwing a spoon? But it's the combination for you with this rod, the ultra sensitivity of obviously the braided line. Now you're kind of letting things soften up because of the rod.
Right.
The rod itself is now the mechanism allowing everything to go or work so much easier that you can now feel it as good as you can in your hand.
You don't lose any feel because of the braid. You know, I kind of like equate fishing a spoon to like a kite. When you pull hard on a kite, it kind of sits still.
Sure. But
give that kite a little bit of slack, it'll kind of dive and whip around.
Yeah.
You want that medium between pulling and not and you just want it to tighten up to make it move, and the glass enhances that movement, and the braid, you can still feel everything, but you can't with mono.
Right.
Once you use braid, you're not ever going to go back.
It's
never.
There's no question. There's some drawbacks to fishing braid with spoons and spinners, but the benefits far outweigh those, in my own opinion. It's just a great setup, man.
It's fun. It's my connection to the past.
Really? I mean, now listen, everyone. We both are associated with companies that make unbelievable rods. I mean, technology that they use in space. Okay?
It's like Martian stuff.
I'm telling you,
it's crazy.
It's insanity. We're not going to go through the types of rods, although it's edge. Thank you very much. But back to not being the commercial. You can't get these.
No.
Nobody makes these.
No.
Lamaglass doesn't make these like they used to.
No, they have not made them for 53 years.
That's insane.
Yeah. So you got to be that. I believe the last one they put out commercially was available in 1979 because they had inventory.
Just imagine if you went and bought all of them from G.I. Joe's or Larry's back in the day. If you would have gone in and bought every single one of them that they had and saved them until 2023, you could buy yourself a car.
And I'm not kidding you. That blank, not built.
Yeah.
Just the blank alone. That was rated for 8 to 20, 8 to 20 back then. Okay?
Sure.
That's 9 foot 8 to 20. If you could find that blank, just the blank, unlike eBay, you're going to drop $half a grand for it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's $500.
Okay, no, I'm not arguing that. Now, how about this one right here that's signed by Bill Herzog with an old 5000 on there? What would it take to part with? Listen, don't do it because somebody's going to go, okay.
All right,
and they're going to literally say, I'll take it.
You throw enough zeros at me, man. We'll talk. We can talk.
I got it. I get it. Okay. So keep me honest on time here. Where am I at, Ryan? He's going to, Come on. We're good? Okay, anyway. So, all right, so we had a couple of questions. We talked about that. This upcoming segment, we're going to have our Chevy Silverado Tech Tip of the Week. Now, a couple of the things. Right now, I already showed some of the old school Okie drifters. Now, it turns out that somebody is bringing back the Okie drifter.
Yes.
And I've had a chance to look at some this morning, quite honestly. What are your thoughts on bringing back an iconic bait, which is the Okie drifter? Now, obviously, they're not going to be the same thing from 1960, 70, 80, or whatever it may have been when they quit making them.
1973.
But was the last year that they made them?
Yeah, the real ones, yeah.
How the heck do you know this?
Did you
write it down?
Yeah, I did, as a matter of fact.
All right, we're going to stop making them. Okay, everybody, write this down. That's impressive. Okay.
Yeah, well, you get into stuff,
Okay, I'm not going to, I get it. How do you like the newer version? The color's a little bit different, but the manufacturing process and how they actually feel, that plastic in your hand, they look very, very similar.
They're hollow and they're translucent, number one and number two.
Yeah, right.
And they float good and they look similar, and I've caught fish on them already. I got to test them last year.
Okay.
Mwah. They're good.
What's the name of the company that makes them?
Robalize.
Robalize.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can find them out there.
Okay, Robalize. And for all my sponsors, please forgive me. It's just an iconic bait that somebody has out there, and I'd like to make sure that everyone is aware that they are available, much like Steely's. Still on a board, which kills me because they don't make the original Okie, but they still make the original. I was going to say one thing. I am not going to try to say anything different than what Bill would ever say about throwing a spoon, but one of the things he mentioned about the old school Steely with its width, right? As opposed to the one that you love to throw, the BC, which is just a narrower body. In the situations where you're casting upriver and you're bringing that spoon to you, doesn't matter what river you're on, if it's boulders, if it's different structure, and you're making those casts upriver. And if you're not doing it that way with the spinner, or excuse me, a spoon, you are costing yourself fish. Okay, I'm just making sure that you're aware of that. But the Steely with that wide body casted upriver is a lot easier to get back along the bottom because you have a little bit more surface, where maybe you'd have a little bit too much speed if you're trying to bring something back with a little bit narrower body. So there's different situations where different styles can be an advantage, but that's just one I would throw out there. Okay.
You want to fish those on the shoots too. Anytime you got that ledges, really snaggy, weird ledges,
bigger.
You don't want a spoon that sinks.
Well, I'm with
Steely's work great there.
That's where I grew up throwing them, and I learned, and actually I learned from you when you were back Northwest Wild Country.
Yes.
One of my favorite shows of all time, way back in the day.
Me
Joel and Dwayne and yourself on there, killing it, by the way, on our old network. you had mentioned about spoons and different ways to fish them. I quit fishing them altogether, and I started fishing them. This is probably a decade ago, again, when you had mentioned that. So just kind of throwing it out there. He's been helping people for a long time. All right, we're going to cut to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have that Chevy Silverado Tech Tip of the Week. And if you like to fish jigs, this will be a good one for you. We'll be right back.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by Chevy Silverado and the impressive new Turbo Max engine. Flex your muscle with the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. Official truck of Outdoor GPS.